You create your own reality is something you have probably heard before. But what does it mean? You'll not be surprised that there will be some definitions to set and one or more paradoxes to tackle. One of which is, if it's true that you create your own reality, then you may create a reality in which you believe you do not create your own reality, and that would be a valid reality. Another thing we need to talk about is, who are you in this sentence? Chances are not who you think you are. We'll get to that. The first thing which we can discuss is, what is reality? And to make another paradox apparent is that reality is an illusion. So let's start with that. What is reality? In one sentence, reality is an energetic construct within consciousness. And the problem with words like these is that you may have all kinds of associations. With consciousness, I mean the all which is aware. Source, the universe. The universe is not a good word for it, because the universe is actually part of a construct of our reality, illusionary reality. So forget that. The all that is, the I am, the source, the consciousness, the awareness. And everything which we define from our human perspective as being a reality is actually an illusion which is part of, which is existing within consciousness. It is a construct existing of tremendous amounts of layers, vibrations, sometimes referred to as dimensions, densities, realms, planes. So, for instance, if you have the earthly plane, the astral plane, astral realm, the spiritual realm, fifth dimension, the angelic realms, that's all densities, is the word I choose to use now, within the construct. And the construct is the illusion within consciousness. And this illusion we call reality. Now these constructs, these layers within the construct, call it vibrations, frequencies, is nothing else than energy. And energy is nothing else than communication. Energy is a energetic reflection of a part of consciousness. So consciousness is I am, is I exist, is everything. And you can imagine that just being aware of the fact that you are everything is kind of static, maybe even boring. So what consciousness did is have parts, for lack of a better word, of it imprinted into an energetic state within a construct it created itself, within itself. See it as a virtual reality. So you're all that is, and you create a virtual reality with many aspects. A world, avatars, players, non-playable characters, you name it. And these are all imprints of parts of consciousness. So what consciousness is able to do within this virtual reality, within this illusionary reality, is have one part of itself interact with another part of itself. That's what energy is. Energy is a frequency, a vibration of an imprint of itself, creating the illusion that it is actually apart from the other imprint in energy of itself. And thus it can interact with itself and it can experience itself. That's the big idea. It can create anything and everything. You are the great creator. You are the awareness, the consciousness which can create inside the illusion. We'll come to that later, because this is what this video is about. How do you create your reality? So you can experience your energetic imprint on many, many different levels within this construct. A thing which we would call angels are energetic imprints in what we call a higher realm, higher frequency, higher vibration. Maybe that's where our soul would live. We are in this illusionary reality, are a multi-dimensional, as it is called, being. We exist in an endless amounts of frequencies. And depending on what your energetic equivalent of consciousness wants to experience, it chooses a level on which to have the experience. Here you are watching this YouTube video, so you have chosen to experience a human life. So your soul, as it was imprinted from consciousness, decided to have a higher self, also an existence in this illusionary reality. It's also energy, a specific vibration, and that together also created a lower vibration of energy. You're human, which is all imprints from the part of consciousness who wants to experience itself. And it also created within itself your experienced reality. And this is tricky for our minds to grasp. Our mind has the tendency to think it is you, which is it is not. We'll come to that later as well. But all parts, any energetic part which you experience in your daily life is part of you, is part of the illusionary reality within your consciousness. So again, you are a creative power, a consciousness imprint, an energetic imprint with many levels all over all the densities, realms of this construct. And for lack of a better word, lowest part, the most dense part of your being within your being is your human. Now, you decided, you as your consciousness, that it wanted to play a little bit more, I'm not sure if it's called challenging or in-depth game with itself. So what it did, it almost completely forgot. Have your human forget that it is actually an energetic imprint of consciousness with many layers and many different aspects. So here you are, and almost from your true being separated energetic imprint, your human, in your own reality. So now what? What do you do? Before we get into that, you, as I said, you as a consciousness are your own illusionary reality, which means that any interactions you have with other people, animals, plants, cars, pavements, if you fall on your face, is your energy. It's in your consciousness. It is your illusionary reality. You are playing with yourself. Now, if you interact with somebody else, you are actually creating with your energy, in your illusion, let's say a hologram of a projection of another such energy, human energy in this case. And when you came here, when you decided to have your energetic imprint be a human, you agreed that you would stick to a set of playing game rules. Otherwise you wouldn't be able to interact. But when you interact with a projected energetic projection of whatever it is you interact with within your own consciousness, and you decide what to do. This is actually quite a comforting thought, because that's why you can't do anything wrong. There are unlimited amounts of realities. Everybody has their own reality. So if you completely screw up, for instance, which you can't, we'll get to that later as well, you only screw up the reflection in your own reality. You are not being judged for that either. You only judge yourself. Your higher parts of yourself and consciousness will decide whether it liked the game you played in your illusion or not, and whether it wants to repeat specific parts of the game or not. But you can't screw it up. So that's a side note, comforting side note. So you adhere to human rules, and because of your forgetfulness, when you start your experience here, there's no such thing as time, of course, but let's discuss that another time. When you decide to start here and you forgot everything, and you are being, how do you call that? You see the other realities, you see the collective reality. You are able to be, how do you say that? For lack of a better word, you're gullible to everything you see happening around you, because you can see other realities. Now, because you are forgetful, you don't know that you are able to completely create your own reality, and you are being taught that you have to adhere to all kinds of stuff. To sit down and shut up in school, to ask for permission to be able to pee. You have to get good grades, you have to learn math, you have to learn language, you have to be whatever it is, the collective reality, which we'll dive into at another time as well, says you have to learn. For what? There's nothing to learn, there's nothing to gain. But that's what you're being taught. And because you do not know that you are creating your own reality in a completely different way, it's very easy to follow that programming. And that's what people do. And they are being taught that they are separate, which is kind of easy to be taught because it looks that way, because that's the way the illusion is being set up. And if you forget who you really are, it's easy to think that you are you and they are they, and that is that. And that's being reinforced by everything you're being taught in school. You have to be the best, and in life, not only in school. And what happens is that you are being imprinted, not a good word, you are being lulled into believing that you are your thoughts, you are your belief. The beliefs you get from your parents, the beliefs you get from your surroundings, maybe your religion, if you're being brought up religiously, from school, from culture. So what happens is that you create this persona, this ego, which is nothing more than a set of beliefs thinking it is you. And because it has beliefs and it has prejudice, assumptions, anything, it also can be hurt. That's what it thinks. And egos do the most funny things to try to not being hurt. An expression, the best defense is an offense. People do the most craziest things to prevent from the experience of being hurt, which is all part of the illusion. So what happens is that from a lack of consciousness, the lack of realizing that you are something else, your ego part thinks it is you in this illusion, and it goes around judging. That's actually the most common way of creating your reality. If you do not do it consciously, you do it by judging, because judging is a very strong way of interacting with your reality. which is also you. But judging means you reinforce the idea that something you are judging, whether it's good or bad, doesn't matter, is something else in you, reinforcing the illusion that there's separation, that there's duality, as they call it. And the moment you interact with something, doesn't matter. Abraham Hicks said, you get what you think about, whether you like it or not. Sarah Landon, Sarah Landon, described it as that the judgment is actually what creates your reality. The moment you do that, judging being one of the strongest ways to interact with anything, you invite it into your reality. And this is important. Or it is not, because it's all an illusion. But if you want to have a consciously nice life, and you're not there yet that you realize that there is no such thing as life. It just is. I'll get to that later. Then it's worthwhile to really get your head around the concept that everything and anything which you encounter in your daily life is your energy. And if you want something to stay, you focus on it. And if you do not want something to stay, you not even ignore it. You maybe accept it. There's a part of my reality. Thank you. I'm not going to focus on that anymore. I'm going to focus on something else. I'm not going to judge it. Because if you judge it, like, I don't like it, I don't want it anymore, you're actually inviting it back. So, you create your reality by a state of being. And a judgmental state means that you are creating everything and anything you have some sort of judgment about. This helped me realize that that there's something more. Like everybody's seen the movie The Matrix. Everybody, maybe if you're watching this, you probably feel that there's something. What is it? And what we actually have the habit of is to search for answers. Even you may watch this video because you were searching for an answer. I did that. I still do it sometimes. So we are looking for something out there to help us one way or the other. And that means automatically you can't fool your own illusion that there is a sense of lack. And a sense of lack can only come from your thought self, your thought identity, your ego. And the moment you find yourself searching, seeking, that's the moment you realize, wait, obviously, even if it's only a little bit, I have a judgment about myself not being complete or having to look for answers because I'm not one way or the other content with where I am right now. And that is what reinforces the illusion. So who are you? Again, what we discussed and which may help you. You are the awareness. You have creative power in your illusion, in your reality, but you are awareness. You are the observer. There's this guy called Ascendor on YouTube. I find him very inspiring, which gives a very interesting exercise. He said, feel your hand or your heart or your head. Really feel it. And then try and feel the feeler. Who or what is it that feels that feeling? Who is the feeler? And that actually helped me realize that, I don't know. And that is who we really are, the awareness, the observer. So the thing is, if you are able to let go of judgment and realize that any judgment and interaction is actually perpetuating an experience, that and you're able to realize that you are not your thoughts, like Echkart Tolle also nicely explains, then you will discover a sort of space, freedom, to realize who you really are. And you can either skip all the other parts of your being in this illusion, your multidimensional being, and go straight to source. Or you can, like a lot of people like to do, including myself, I like to explore this, my created illusionary reality, a little bit more. And I experience that I can have contact with the other parts of myself, the higher parts of myself, which are way smarter than my ego mind. And what I experience is that when I just ask my ego mind to just experience, just acknowledge and accept what I see, that's when other parts of our illusionary self get the chance to take over. So when your mind stops yapping all the time, becomes quiet, not by force, because then you create lack, judgment, and then you perpetuate the busy mind. But just by realizing, I'm not my thoughts. I am the observer. And then other parts of yourself can step in and create your reality, instead of your ego mind, by judging, creating your reality. And what happens then is that you'll experience synchronicity and all kinds of very nicely, funny, flowy things, until you started judging again. Then you'll just hit back in the ego reality. But when you're able to sustain it a little bit, not by force again, but just by experiencing it, you'll be able to have a very nice, relaxed experience. The energy will flow. You're not holding on to anything, because you're not you. You're not your ego. You're not what you think you are, or what your mind wants you to think who you are. And if you do that, then you'll notice that you really do create your own reality, because you'll have a different sense of you. You'll even be able to actively experience other parts than your human within your reality, because it is you. The apple which you eat is an energetic projection within you, and you can actually experience your own illusionary reality from the perspective of that apple. You may or may not need some stimulating drugs for that, but it's possible. So that's actually what I had to share for now. There are many, many, many more things which we can discuss about this. And I can imagine that there are a lot of questions. Feel free to post questions if you have. So I have the feeling that there's one last thing. Maybe, just put it out there. You cannot harm, I think I mentioned that before, you cannot harm anything or anyone, because you are only harming the projection, energetic projection within your own reality. So how does this compare to the collective? And what does it mean? Maybe I will tackle that subject, the human transition. So you do not have to fix anybody or anything, apparently, obviously, because that would mean a judgment, that would mean that you think there's something wrong, you'll interact, you'll keep yourself in the duality, illusion, and there's nothing to fix, because it's just your own energetic projection of anything. So we tackled that. But how does humanity as a collective consciousness evolve then? As I said, you can be aware of other realities. If you're not realizing that you create your own reality, you're easily influenced by the realities you can see around you. Nice example, COVID. Apparently everybody in who has their own reality, of course, was able to see the collective reality, which a lot of people experienced as their personal reality, dealing with COVID. But if you decided from your own consciousness that you do not want to interact with anything COVID, I have a couple of personal experiences on that. It really wasn't didn't have to be a part of your personal reality. It wasn't in mine. So you can, because you are able to be energetically projected in other people's reality based on what they see. People can see your reality, see what you do, and can be inspired by it, giving them the ability to focus more on, to decide to have your experience, or the way they energetically projected your experience into their own reality. They can choose to interact with that and focus on that and decide that, hey, I want to be inspired by it. That's how it works. And the more realities are being inspired like that, then there will be created, horrible English, a new collective rule, status quo, which human realities can adhere to when they start their human experience. And every and any individual reality is a real reality. But when we say that humanity is ascending, that means that there are many individual realities with energetically projected beings who decided that they want to be more in touch with the higher dimensions of their illusionary, energetically projected parts of themselves. It's still in the construct, it's still in reality, what we call reality. And it's still you who can decide whether you want to experience that or not take part in it, that kind of ascending path at all. It's really up to you, because you create your own reality. That's all I have to say for now. I hope this was interesting, one way or the other. Thank you.